What's up, guys? Welcome to the Changeover podcast. This is the first ever weekly grind podcast where my friends and I guess sometimes our rivals, talk about everything we're going through as professional tennis players, and I guess give our opinions on the tour, whether that's the futures, challenges, ATP, whatever we are playing at the time. And this is basically what we're gonna do. My name is Jody Maginley. This is Justin Roberts. We've been friends for a long time. We have a couple other guys that are involved in this project, AJ and Evan. I'm sure you guys will meet them in the coming weeks. But basically, we're here to talk about professional tennis and basically how the tour's been going. So, Justin, why don't you tell everybody, I guess, a little bit about us and how we met, where we're from, and how we got basically here in Florida now playing professional tennis.
It's a long story, probably. For myself, I'm from the Bahamas. I started playing tennis when I was like 6, 7 years old. I just saw it on TV and asked my dad to play, so I ended up going to like a summer camp. And then obviously improved, went through the ranks, started playing the local events, ended up playing the tournaments in the Caribbean, like the ITF Cotec events, which is where I would have met Jody. Probably when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere. I want to say maybe St. Lucia, probably where we met.
We played we were maybe 10. It was like under 12.
I don't remember that, but you tell me we played. And then, we would have kept contact throughout that time. My junior career, kind of traveling started when, first my father would like kind of help us go over to Miami a lot to play like the weekend events. And then when I was about 11, I got scouted by like the ITF development thing. I think it was Anthony Jeremiah at the time.
Yeah.
So I started playing. My first trip was like to Mexico when I was 11 with like, I don't remember, like Franz Sido, Lucian Ramazzini, Gian Issa. Yeah.
Was Yannick James there too?
Yannick, my first trip, no, but I would have ended up meeting him probably when I was like 12.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got my start. And then like the Cotec trips and the COSAT, like South America trips. And then started playing ITF juniors. And then I went to college in Tampa. Then I played my last year at Arizona State. And then we kind of reconnected, I guess, in person when I was at USF. When I was at, we went to Dominican together. It was you, me, and
that might have been my junior year in college, I think.
Yeah, it would have been my
Jody and Kyle.
I think it would have been my freshman fall, end of my freshman fall. And we went to Dominican together. We actually played both weeks.
Yeah, we played first.
We were roommates both weeks, and we played first round qualies both weeks. And ever since then, been heavily in contact. And then when I finished my last year at Arizona State, we actually moved in together. And when I went to go train in Texas at the Dents,
which is where we got close to AJ and
Evan. That's why I met AJ and Evan. And that's my story a little bit. What about you? How you got into tennis?
Yeah, my dad played. I grew up playing at hotels back home. Just at different hotels, I guess, when I was really young. And then one specific hotel, while I was in high school. Moved away when I was around 16. I went to Florida for a little bit to play some of the same tournaments as you, I guess, like when you were younger, just what they call them, Super Series and locals and stuff.
Locals.
Yeah. So I played those. Then I spent a few months at Saddlebrook Tennis Academy. And then I went to college. I went to Northern Kentucky University. Then in 2017 spring is when I moved to Texas. Trained with the Dents for a few years and then moved down here end of 2021. Now we're in Florida, if you guys don't know. We are in Delray Beach where we train. I guess I'm right now the stage that I am in. I had hip surgery a year and a half ago. So I think I was a little bit unlucky with COVID and then with the hip surgery. So I'm still playing mostly futures and a bit of challengers. And I mean, I know you were also recently pretty unlucky with your body too. So Justin's also in, I guess, a similar boat as me.
Yeah.
Pretty much playing the futures. But this week we're preparing to play Sunrise. Sunrise 15K next week. So how's your body been holding up, I guess, the last few days with the wrist?
Yeah. So for this specific tournament, I'm not sure if I'm going to play actually. So as I can talk about this year so far, I played 3 events after I came back from a twisted ankle at the end of last year, which happened after a year full of injuries. Before that, we have to talk about that right now. But I came back and I was able to play 3 events. So I started my year in where is that? Palm Coast. I played a wildcard event, which I won. So I won 5 matches there. Got into the main draw at Palm Coast. Won my first round, then lost to the number 1 seed. A good player, guy like around 250 in the world. I lost 4-4, but I thought for me, good first week back. I mean, won 6 matches. Then the week after that, I went to the Dominican Republic for 25K. Well, there were actually 2 in a row there. I lost, didn't play great. Lost to Panther there. Good player, top 500, good player. But I didn't think that my level was quite as good that week as it was the week before. But trained hard and ended up playing my third week there was in the DR. Ended up making semis there, beating good players. Beat like some guys who were like around 350 at the time, and then another guy who was used to be like 200 in the world, come back from injuries as well. So I felt like my game was progressing well. But in the Dominican, the conditions were kind of, the balls were very light. So I ended up going up in my string tension. And when I came back to Delray after, and we were training, we played with like the ATP Dunlop ball, which is like a very heavy ball. And I didn't, let's say, cut out my strings and then string them looser again. I was just playing with the same rackets I had there until they popped. And after about, I want to say 4 or 5 days of training, I was starting to get like pretty sore on my wrist, which was not abnormal because I had wrist surgery there about 5-6 years ago. So I wasn't too worried until the 3rd day. I hit a serve, a string pop, and I got like a sharp pain in my wrist. So
This was like, what, 2 weeks ago, I think?
Yeah, 2.5 weeks ago now. So I was a little tight then when I get a sharp pain. So I stopped playing, went to doctors, had MRIs, got the opinions of 3 doctors. And the last opinion I got was from my actual surgeon back in 2017. He said my wrist was good. He thinks maybe I had like a bit of tendonitis. So this past week I've been in like a splint, haven't played. I think I took like 3 or 4 days off in the splint. My first hitting was today, and we're supposed to start next week Monday. So the plan is to like have 3 light days of hitting, and then 3 tougher days of hitting. But
So today was day 1 of light hitting.
yeah, and it went okay. Like in the beginning, it's stiff, which is normal because I haven't moved my hand in a few days. And then I still had some pain here and there, which is probably normal. So yeah, the hard part is like I don't know in my head if I'm playing or not. So it's hard for me to kind of gauge, let's say, how hard to push, what to do. So I guess I got to kind of just assume I'm going to play and do everything that I can do to be ready for Monday. But yeah.
So it was interesting too because I know you had to run in the middle of practice to go to the bathroom. So we have a friend here that's actually staying with us.
Yeah, we might call him a friend.
Yeah. Maybe he's not a friend anymore, but Matthew from Barbados is staying with us this week. And last night he wanted to order Chinese food. So we ordered Chinese food, and he
wanted to pay because we let him stay here for free for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we assumed that because he's been here before a bunch of times, so we assumed that he has, had this Chinese place before. So Justin and I were like, yeah, sure, we'll have Chinese. Yeah. And today we woke up all sick. Like Matthew has a bad headache. Justin's not feeling great. I have a bad rash. Like it's just horrible. I was walking around like this.
You still are walking around like that.
Yeah, I'm sitting down. A little bit uncomfortable.
Might be Matthew's last time in this house, though.
Yeah. But besides that, my prep has been for Sunrise, I guess, the last 3 weeks. So the first week, we did a lot of, like ball quality work. Like we're playing pretty fast, pretty aggressive. I mean, I'm tall. I like to play aggressive, come to net. So the first week we played a lot of drills, just like working on ball quality, playing strong. The second week we transitioned to more like shot tolerance, I guess. So we worked on a lot of like positioning in the court, like receiving skills, like if someone's hit heavy, just trying to make sure that you don't, give a weaker ball in return. And then we transition to this week now. Obviously, next week we play, so we're playing a lot more, points and still focusing on the court position and that sort of stuff, but now incorporating like serving and returning and actual set play and stuff. So it's going to be interesting, I guess, because clay is not my favorite surface.
I was going to say, how you feel going into like a clay event now? You've been playing indoors a lot this year?
Yeah, I ended the year last year playing, I think, 4 indoor tournaments in a row. And then I started this year playing, 2? I played 2 indoors and then 1 in a little bit of altitude outside, but all on hard court. And I thought I was playing pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think recently I've kind of lost the expectation side of it. So I kind of just go into practices trying to enjoy practice, It's been a little bit odd because it feels like emotionally I'm not trying that hard. Because I used to be the kind of person, I think at least, that like if my coach tells me to do something, I try really hard to do it.
Maybe overthink it, overstress it.
Yeah, exactly. So now I just try to, I guess, have fun. I'm not, disobedient to anything. I still listen because I still believe in the process that Chris is teaching us. But I think I'm a little bit more relaxed and just enjoying practice,
from the outside looking in, I know maybe from one extreme to the next, but this seems like you're actually playing a little more free, a little bit better. You don't seem like you have as much stress on you when you're playing.
Yeah, I feel like, again, I just kind of let go of the expectation of, I lost a lot of confidence, I guess, in some of the losses that I had. Like maybe a handful last year and 1 or 2 this year, I lost a lot of confidence, and it kind of just made me lose all expectations that I had in my singles. So I'm kind of just, like I said, just having fun, trying to put the pressure on the other side of the net. I'm playing pretty aggressive a lot of the time, coming to net. So I guess I kind of win and lose on my racket, but honestly, I just want to make it tough for the other person. And then in practice, I just try to have fun, talk some trash, have a good time with the boys, get through these kind of practices because, I don't know, it gets pretty repetitive all the time. And if you're focusing really hard all the time, sometimes it can be draining. And I think it's weird because I think I was pretty disciplined in the past with all my rehab and recovery and all this stuff. And in the last month, I haven't been as disciplined. I have done recovery. I still roll out and that sort of stuff, but I haven't been as disciplined as the past. But I think
put on a couple of pounds.
Maybe I put on a couple of pounds. But my body's actually in a better place. Like I haven't missed any practices due to any issues. I mean, my back has been a little bit sore, but besides that, and I think that just comes down to tension when I'm playing. Like maybe now I'm playing more loose, so I'm not holding as much tension in my body when I'm trying so hard to do the right thing all the time. AJ used to say, you have to
want it less.
You have to want it less, yeah. Maybe AJ was a little bit right.
Yeah, I think maybe you found something good in the not caring as much.
Yeah. But I'm a little bit aware though because I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody, and especially my coach puts in a lot of time with me.
To be honest, I think, I don't speak for Chris, but I think before, not that you were trying to, but like because you would overthink things, I think you were more of a burden then. Because he would have to always kind of talk to you and try to... Probably.
And that's what I felt guilty about because I lost a match in Canada like a month and a half ago. And I finished the match and I got a message from you, got a message from Chris, got a message from my dad, basically saying like, sorry about today. I'm here if you need to talk. And then I just thought, here we go again. Like, obviously these are people who care about me and want me to do well. But I felt like I'm a burden to all these people every time I lose a match. Just like pretty disappointing to me.
I think a burden is a strong word.
Yeah, I know, but that's just how I felt in the moment. I was like, I just, because it happened a few times last year where I lost these matches for different reasons. Maybe sometimes I shouldn't have played because my body wasn't prepared or it was like really humid and maybe I wouldn't have hydrated properly or whatever. So there had a few really bad performances last year that I was disappointed in, and I got those messages after the match because obviously on paper it's a match that it looked like it should have been the other way.
Because you beat him the last 2 times.
Yeah, well, that was this one at least, but there was a few last year as well. So I kind of felt like I was a burden to everybody, and I kind of wanted to stop going through this. You know, I don't like the feeling of people feeling sorry for me, even though there were moments where I feel sorry for myself, and I just wanted to be done with that process. And now that I'm playing a lot more looser in the way I play, I mean, I don't know how it's going to be because I've only played one tournament and I actually played really well. But I don't know how it's going to go for a stretch of
going forward.
Yeah, but I guess...
but it's worth the experiment, I feel.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
you know?
For sure. So we'll see how it goes. I guess next week is Sunrise, not my preferred surface, but...
I care even less.
Yeah, it's true. And then I'll be playing 2 weeks in Trinidad, and I guess that's what you're aiming for too, right? If next week doesn't work out, you'll be in Trinidad for the next 2 weeks.
You'll be in Trinidad hard, and in the Caribbean, which is always nice. Kind of a similar culture you grew up in, kind of similar conditions in terms of the heat, the humidity. You just feel more comfortable playing in the Caribbean. We play a lot growing up in the islands. And
I played there in last June or July.
Davis Cup, right?
I played Davis Cup there. Yeah, it's nice facility. I like it. So
I never been to this. I've been to Trinidad for like under 14 Worlds or something, but haven't been back. And it was at like a small site. So they have indoor courts and stuff there too, right?
Yeah, they have maybe, I want to say 8 or something outdoor courts and like 4 indoor courts.
Yeah, so it should be cool.
And it rained almost every day at Davis Cup, so they used the indoor courts for the matches. So, but yeah, it's good. We have one question that we should answer before we go. As players, how much do we obsess about our rankings? Justin, you want to take that one or me? I guess it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... So before you have your first point, you're stressed about getting 1 point. And then you get your first points. And now...
For those who don't know, what is the point?
So to be a professional tennis player, you have to qualify for professionally sanctioned events, usually the ITF Tour. So it's like futures where you start. And normally, if you don't get a wild card, you start in the qualifying draw if you can get in. And you have to usually win 2 or 3 rounds. Then you make it to the main draw. And if you win that first round in the main draw, you earn 1 ATP point. Then you get into the ranking list. So before you have any points at all, like the biggest thing in the world is to have 1 ATP point. And then once you get one, maybe your next goal is like you want to be seeded in qualies. You don't want to play, maybe you can get a bye in qualies. And then you're stressed about trying to get to a ranking where you can be always directly in main. And then the next thing is, what's next after that? You want to play challengers now, you challenger qualies. But for me, I haven't had, I guess, let's say the luxury of even stressing about a ranking in the last maybe year and a half. Ranking has not been my priority. I think for me, it's just been my body trying to be healthy. I think I had a bad stretch of, so like June 2021, I had like tore my right hamstring. Then I strained the left one. After that, then coming into 2022, tore a calf, then strained the hamstring again. Then found out I had like a herniated disc in my back. Fixed that. So I came back and on and off like 6-7 times in the last 2 years. And for the most part, when I have been healthy and I have played, level has been high. Like after a couple of tournaments, I usually end up competing well with or beating guys in top 500. So I feel like if I give myself that full year to play, I could achieve the goals I want. So like a goal for me with a full year of health would be to break the top 250 so I could play slam qualies.
So you think, I guess, with your body aside, like if you were healthy hypothetically, like for years, you think that the ranking would be on your mind a little bit more than it is now?
Probably.
I feel like a lot of guys have this, like they pay attention to cuts.
Yeah.
So for example, like let's say Evan right now is ranked just under 300. So probably in his mind, he could be thinking about the cuts for the slams.
100%.
Versus like what you were describing earlier. I mean, I'm sure when you go up the ranking, they're talking about, the cuts to get seeded in these big tournaments. And then I guess it goes all the way down. So I think that's probably a little bit what players think about. They want to get first. It's the first point. And then you work your way up to seeded in qualities.
It's gradual. There's always something to look forward to.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's an obsession, but I think it's definitely.
It's always in your
people
mind,
think
or
about,
something that you're aware of at least.
Me, I do that too. I think
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like I mean, right now I'm around the point where I'm always gonna be seated in qualies, or I'm gonna be in the main draw. So that's the next goal for me would be to try and get a few more points, so I don't have to play through qualies if I want to make a run, because you know I can play, especially now the qualies. I mean, in the last few weeks in Montreal, the qualies were very strong. I was sitting with Zeke one day. Zeke is ranked maybe around 500.
Zeke
he
Clark.
was directly in main. And Zeke was watching qualies with me, and he said, "This is not the week you want to play qualies, you know, because it's just strong." And I feel like that's how it's been, especially to start the year. Is always strong. Qualies is always strong, and the level is always high. So, yeah, I think that's where I am now, just trying to, you know, push on, get a handful more points, so I don't have to play through qualies every time. Play these dangerous players in qualies, because you know these guys can also win matches in main and you know do damage. So
And I think the thing sometimes too is, I think you have to be aware. Obviously, this is your job. This is what you want to do. So you need to have certain objectives, but you don't want to get obsessed and carried away with it, because then you lose sight of the performance. I think
there's different type of goals, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is the things you can control. So like, how do I get better at X, Y, Z, and how do I perform at a high level consistently? And I think if you take care of those things and you kind of, let's say, believe in yourself when you're playing, usually you probably end up where you're supposed to be anyway. Like you'll probably get to where you deserve to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think
agree.
it's not. I think it's something you need to be aware of, but I think we shouldn't obsess over them, even though probably many of us end up in the little.
Hopefully, with my new mindset, it's not something I think about.
Yeah, just stop caring about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So if you guys have any questions for us, I think every episode will probably answer one or two questions. So
or maybe like different topics you want us to talk about. I don't know.
Exactly.
Anything.
Feel free. We'll have all of our social medias, I guess, tagged below. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, in the comments, or tweet us, or DM, however you guys want to message us, or you can just send it straight to us. I mean, I feel like a lot of the listeners, at least at the beginning, you guys will know who we are.
Yeah.
So feel free to reach out and let us know what you think, and if you have any questions, and let us know. I guess when in the next few weeks we'll be traveling at tournaments, so it wouldn't just be Justin and I. It's gonna also be AJ and Evan, and we'll have
Maybe
guests
other
on.
players that who are at the tournament.
Exactly.
That we know.
So I mean, in Sunrise and Trinidad and stuff, we'll have guests on. So just let us know who you guys think we should have on. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for listening, and see you guys next week.